And I want to say welcome to everybody for being here, because we're doing this 3-part series, which really spoke to me. As you know, when I did actually a class before this, or the lesson before I started this series called Loosen Up, 3 Simple Steps to Eliminating Stress, I talked about how my blood pressure tends to be a little high. A little high. It's like saying the ocean's a little big. My blood pressure was averaging in the 180s to the 180 over 130. That was typical for me. And I would always tell my doctor that, I just ran up the stairs, or, my shoulder hurts, and so my blood pressure is going. I know we've had doctors here and nurses, and they always are like, they want to strap me to a gurney when I say that. But it's true, it really was. Now, I have a little device called a cardio with a Q, which is a blood pressure cuff that hooks up to my phone and actually does my blood pressure, tracks it. My blood pressure, since I began this series a month ago, is now averaging 130 over 80. Is that an improvement?
Yes.
I bring that up because I think that I'm overly qualified to teach about diminishing stress. I've learned a lot of things about stress. I've learned how it truly kills us. It is the #1 killer of human beings in the world. We're upset, it ramps us up, it makes us make poor choices, it diminishes our immune system. It's terrible for us. Stress is terrible for us. And yet we live immersed in a stressful culture. And as we talked about last week, we live in a culture that wants you stressed, because you're far easier to control when you're stressed. Once again, I love the fact that I happen to choose to talk about this during during the most nasty, contentious presidential election that I have ever seen. It's absolutely amazing. But the point is, they want you stressed. They want you stressed. If you're an ardent supporter of Donald Trump, they want you stressed so that you don't accidentally let down your guard and not vote for Donald Trump. The same is true for Hillary Clinton. They're going to hound home what scoundrels and dogs the other person is for the next week. And that's what you're going to hear, so that in the end you think, they both stink. They're both terrible. Now let's all come together in unity. Do you see how crazy it is? Politics is the one thing that creates the problem and then convinces you it can solve the problem. It wants you stressed. It wants you stressed. Let me ask you a question. Do you want to be stressed? Yes or no? Raise your hand if the answer is no. Then I'm going to give you some things today that I want you to really consider doing, or else we're both wasting our time, okay? I mean this sincerely. Stress is killing you. Consider some of the things I'm going to share with you. Now, I want to recap what we've talked about real quick up until this point. First of all, #1, stress is primal. We know this from Hans Selye. Hans Selye wrote an article for Nature magazine in which the entire concept of stress was introduced, and he said that we all have stress during our lives every day. Raise your hand if you have stress every day of some kind. Your app freezes on your phone. Is that a little bit stressful? It's a little bit stressful, but it depends on what you're trying to do. It can be very stressful. We have so many little complications and things in our lives today that can break down. It can be stressful. It can be very, very stressful. Not only that, as we've talked about before, there is distress and there is eustress. There's no stress. Distress is that feeling of, I'm in distress. Something has gone wrong. My app froze up. My daughter didn't get home on time from her date. So-and-so didn't come through at work. That is distress. We feel distressed, and we all feel that. This idea, when I came up with the title for this series before I came up with the content, just to let you in on the little backdoor secret, which is true for everybody. You come up with the title, 3 Simple Steps to Eliminating Stress. What I've learned is you don't eliminate stress. You don't eliminate stress. It's a good title, though. Gets you to watch. But hopefully by now, we're at video number 3 or lesson number 3. You learn that you don't eliminate stress. It's a part of who you are. As you're going to learn today, you discharge stress. You discharge stress. You don't eliminate it. Stress is primal. There is distress and there is eustress. Everyone comes into the world with eustress. 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 It's not an acronym. It means good stress. And what it means is, it's that part of you. Let's give you an example. Growing up, my older brother played the piano. My younger brother played the guitar. I played the drums. We never actually played together. We just all happened to like different instruments. What was different about us? I never wanted to play the guitar. I tried playing the piano. I thought it was, no offense, Alex, boring for me. Wasn't what I was looking for. What's different? We all come into the world with, I would call them at the very least, proclivities. Things that you're sort of wanting to do that other people may or may not want to do. That's all part of your divine nature, your divine purpose. When we talk about eustress and you having a divine purpose, everybody thinks that if they don't cure cancer, their divine purpose isn't good enough, or bring about world peace, or whatever. If it's not big enough, then it's not divine. No. It's your divine purpose. It's there to make you happy. It's there to wake up your spirit, your soul. It's there to get you feeling good about being in this body. We all have distress. We all have eustress. Both are primal, but our culture only plays up one of them. Which is it? Distress. What does the self-improvement industry play up? Eustress. You should listen to the self-improvement industry and not the news media. That's what I'm telling you. That was a joke, y'all. Come on, stay with me. Come on, if I can't tease you, this isn't going to be fun. Last week, as I talked about, we should do what? Say it aloud. Wow, somebody say it aloud. One more time. This is all, one more time. What is it? Eat mentally healthy. We truly believe this idea that, you know what, I'm not going to eat cheeseburgers 3 times a day or whatever because it's not healthy, if that's your thing, okay? We all agree that that's not good for us, is to eat so-called junk food or food that doesn't have a lot of nutrition. So we just simply would not do that. And yet we pour crap into our minds all the time. I heard Sir Ben Kingsley, the great actor, talking about celebrity magazines. They don't celebrate anything. They attack. They're supposed to be celebrity magazines. Let's celebrate these people who are iconic in our culture. They're not fun unless we're dogging them and putting them down. You are what you eat, mentally as well as physically. I discovered something this week, by the way. It was a BFO. You know what a BFO is? Blinding flash of the obvious. This came to me after I've been out of college now for 34 years. I have been working as a professional in various industries. I've been a professional speaker for the last 10 years. I have discovered that to a person, the people who truly excel and exceed in any sort of organization, multi-level marketing, management, executives, you know what the one thing is they have in common? They study their butts off. They read. They don't ever think they've got it. They don't ever think they fully understand it. They're always looking for a better way to do it. And that's what we need to do. We need to eat mentally healthy. We need to put stuff in there that's going to build the person we want to be in the next 3 to 5 years. Does that make sense? Raise your hand. Have I kicked that dog around the block enough? Raise your hand. Good. Please consider that when you go to Netflix or when you choose a movie or something like that. Find something that you'd want to star in. Find something you'd want to star in, okay? So stress is primal. We need to eat mentally healthy. And as I said, we need to discharge stress. One of the greatest metaphors or stories I've ever heard about discharging stress was Eckhart Tolle talking in A New Earth. And he has this wonderful story about sitting on a park bench in England, in London, and watching two geese fight over a piece of bread. And they really go at each other, trying to get this piece of bread. And ultimately, one gets it and goes away, and they both hop back into the pond, and they both shake it off. I have noticed living on Lake Wacomas, the ducks, the geese, they all do that. They fight over resources or women or, food or whatever it is. And then the loser and the winner, the fighter, the winner, blah, 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 and then they go. They literally discharge the distress. I think of stress as like you're walking around with fuzzy socks on a carpet on a very cold day. Now, what happens when you're doing that? You're starting to pick up what? Static electricity. Exactly. You're picking up static electricity. You don't realize it. Sometimes you do because you want to zap your sister, as Will said. Yes, we used to do that as boys as well. But the point is, you're picking up energy every day. You're picking up energy every day. People are stressing you. They are distressing you every single day. And what happens is we don't find a healthy way to discharge that energy by like touching a pole or something like that. We do touch our sister, and then all of a sudden, because it's all energy. We need to discharge our stress every single day. So I want to tell you how to discharge your stress. And what I have discovered from reading a number of books on the subject and studying it is that the most recommended ways to discharge stress are all things you can imagine your ancestors doing thousands of years ago. Take that in. The most recommended. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to give you a pill, okay? And there's a lot of people that are going to say, listen to this or do this or whatever because they want to sell that. But the things I'm telling you today are all natural things that your ancestors did to discharge stress. Everything necessary to discharge stress is natural, primal, and instinctual to human beings. So number one, what does it say?
Sweat.
Sweat. Sweat. By that, it means sweat. It means exercise until you sweat. Until you sweat. Think about you are literally discharging the stress through your pores. It's amazing to me now because I come here, I also go to the gym. I will go into the gym and I will see people who are there longer than I am who never sweat. Within the first 3 minutes, I got a towel, okay? Because I'm trying to discharge something. And I see the people who will take the bar and instead of bringing it down to their chest and taking it up slowly, if you're doing a bench press, it's... and they never sweat and they never get better. One of the best things you can do, this is why yoga is literally, in The Body Keeps the Score, recommended an entire chapter on yoga. You should not only do yoga, but if you're just doing the restorative, you need to be moving towards, if you're doing the chair, you need to move towards the restorative. If you're doing restorative, you need to move towards basic. And they've shown it's never, ever too late. So the way we discharge stress is, number one, what do? Sweat. The second thing we do, you'd say that's natural, right? The second thing is what? Drum. I'm just giving you suggestions. There are people who have drumming circles. They happen all of the time. I've got drums at home. Of course, I play the drums, but they have shown that drumming, which is wouldn't you agree that's natural and instinctive? There has never been a culture in the world that didn't have drums. Did you know that? Never. So drumming is so natural, even if it's just banging on something or getting one of those electronic keyboards or I've got a keypad, a rubber pad that I practice on and play on, and you can feel it go out of you. You can feel the stress go out of you. So number one, sweat. Number two, drum. What is number three? Act. I think that these people who go to the Renaissance Festival do it because it's dispensing stress from them. When you take on another character, you become less stressed. Have you noticed that the people who are the most stressed are often the most dramatic? Yes? They should go get in a play. They would feel better and they would probably excel. So acting, assuming a role, it actually helps eliminate stress. Now you'll notice that the very next one is a little more bold because it's the most important. What does this one say? Meditate. I've had thousands of people email me or call me and say, hey, I've gone 21 days without complaining. It's totally changed my life. Thank you. And that really just thrills me. What thrills me even more is when someone hears me speak or something and then goes, you know what? I'm meditating every day. That is so much more important. Being quiet, being still, unplugging, detaching from outside, attaching to what's inside. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, for the last month, Marty and I have been practicing transcendental meditation. We went to Fairfield, Iowa, and we studied transcendental meditation. And it is, what did I tell you my blood pressure change has been? 180 to 130. Transcendental meditation has been studied by over 700 major universities. It has been found to be the only type of meditation that truly lowers blood pressure. Other types of meditation, like what I've done and taught over the years, Buddhist meditation, mindfulness meditation, is no more effective at reducing blood pressure than a placebo. What I like about it, I'm not trying to talk anyone into it. Number one, it is not a cult. Number two, no one worships or anything. The Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, he popularized it here in the United States because there was this band you may have heard of called the Beatles that he actually came over here with. They brought him over here, and that's what popularized it. It's the most popular form of meditation in the world. You do it twice a day for 20 minutes. How in the world are you going to have time to do twice a day for 20 minutes? Here's what I've discovered doing this now for a month. I've discovered that I have way more energy. I have more time. I'm more clear and more focused because you know how you wake up in the morning and it's what? It's morning, right? So it's what? It's a new day. And there's possibilities and things you can do and everything. TM gives you that twice a day. We meditate every morning as soon as we wake up, and then we do it again at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And for some reason, whereas Marty used to have to take naps between classes and teaching and everything and do these brainwave balancing things, she now has more energy. I have more energy. So I just invite you to strongly consider some form of meditation. And to tell you, in my opinion, this one is the best. Okay? So, meditation. These are all ways of discharging distress, but I want to leave you this morning on talking about how to discharge EUstress. Now, what is EUstress tied to? You remember? Thank you, Alex. Somebody else. What is it tied to? Thank you. Your divine. Nobody shouts out, divine purpose. We're all scared of our divine purpose. I think we think everybody else has a divine purpose except us. I think that everybody else is born to do something different, better, or something than we are. I know I felt that. When I felt guided in my 30s to go into the ministry, I thought I was playing a part. I felt like an idiot. I just totally was like, no, you see that guy over there? See that woman standing up there? They're a minister. I'm a pretender. We feel that way. The first book I ever wrote, I went to the Random House building for Complaint-Free World, my first book. Book sold 4 million copies now around the world. I walked in, I had just finished the manuscript, walked into the Random House building, 40 stories tall. There's all these classic books. And my favorite authors, Wayne Dyer, Dr. Seuss, Curious George, they all had them there in the lobby, and it said, welcome to our new author, Will Bowen. and it had my cover, and there was all these people going in and out. And I walked in, and I felt like someone had kicked me in the stomach, and I walked out. I felt like a poser. I felt like a poser. We all do. It's our egos trying to stop us from having and enjoying our divine purpose. So, to help you discover and live your divine purpose, I just want to leave you with the story. I want to leave you with the story of my Uncle Billy. My Uncle Billy owned a hardware store when I was a boy, and then he was later a magistrate and a judge. He lives in Manning, South Carolina, the town I was born in, which I think has 14 people. And he's always lived there. He's never gone anywhere else. Now, Billy has always sort of tried different jobs, and he's never quite found the thing that was right for him. And then one day when he retired, Uncle Billy pulled out what's called a barbecue bowl. Big thing down in South Carolina is when you have a party, you're expected to have what's called a pig pick. Pig pick is where they take all this barbecue and they put it in a big wooden barbecue bowl like that, and then you stand around with a beer and everybody just eats. It's called a pig pick. So you have to have a barbecue bowl if you're going to have a pig pick. So Uncle Billy had one, and it was a classic. It was over 100 years old. And then he got to thinking, I wonder how you would make one of these things. So he went out into the swamp, and he found a piece of wood that he thought would be good. He got back, and he didn't have any idea what to do, so he took a chainsaw to it. And he actually got it down into kind of a block. Then he took a chisel. He's not a wood craftsman, never had been. He was just trying to figure out how to make a what? A barbecue bowl for a pig pick. That was it. He was just trying to figure it out. Well, he then took a router and he got it all smoothed out and everything, and then he painted it and shellacked it. Someone offered him several $100s for it. And before he knew it, he had a list, he had a business, and his living room looks like a showroom. You can give him the name of any college you like, and he'll make the logo into a barbecue bowl. And these things are all made out of wood that is harvested from the South Carolina swamp, all done by hand. And these things sell for $400 and $500. And Billy has a 6-month waiting list. All because he wanted to figure out how to do it. And then he decided he liked it. You got a barbecue bowl in you. You got something that you just think is interesting. And you know what? If Billy had not turned his avocation into his vocation and started making a lot of money, he wouldn't have cared. He loves making things for people. He loves it. He loves it. You are going to live with EUstress. You are going to live with feeling like you're doing the wrong thing or not doing what you're here to do until you discover your barbecue bowl. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It doesn't have to be anything huge. It just has to mean the world to you. That's what's important. You're always going to have stress. It's natural. Be careful what you put inside your head. And be sure and touch a pole to discharge your stress before you talk to somebody, okay?